Hello and welcome back to the UK Koi channel. And today I finally found an answer to a question that has been dwelling in the back of my mind for the past few weeks surrounding the health of my koi fry that I would have hatched in a recent video. Now, those of you who have been watching my videos over the last few months would know that I recently had my first successful Sankey spawning this year. And over the last course of the last few weeks, I've placed these fry in separate ponds just to help them grow out. As sort of an experiment really, because this is my first ever successful spawning where I've hatched a few thousand fry from a home spawning and had them alive for this long. So as sort of an experiment, I've placed them in 3 separate tanks around the area just to see which one produces the best growth. However, there's always been a question dwelling in the back of my mind, and that being where I'm going to put them after they get past a certain size. Now, the tanks I have them in currently are really only big enough to grow them to about an inch in length. And the big issue that's always been sort of in the back of my mind is where I'm going to put them after they grow over that size, really. Those of you that keep koi obviously know that buying a big vat is very expensive, so that's not really an option for me. And I cannot place them in here because, they get eaten and I can't really get rid of the fish in here at the moment. Or I can't really get rid of them at any sort of time frame that would be useful to the fry. And outside's not an option either, just due to they'd also get eaten. So I've sort of been stressing about that and sort of considering what I could possibly do for the fry to allow them to grow. And about 2 days ago, it came to me that the answer to the question has been literally about 10 meters in that direction for about a year now. And I cannot tell you how excited I am to realize I have this as an option. So today we're going to be covering that, and I'm going to be telling you why I think this is probably the best choice for me. And I know you're probably wondering, what on earth am I talking about? What thing could I have possibly not realised for about a year that could hold the fry? Well, the reason behind that really is because it's not even a pond. It's actually a swimming pool. And this swimming pool we've had now for the past few years, and we swam in it a couple of years and we didn't really use it at all. And it's just been sat there collecting dust pretty much with no use. Then it kind of hit me. It holds water, it's watertight, it's large, and the fish can go in it. We've never put chlorine in it, so there's no issue with chlorine in that pool. And it just hit me that, wait a second, the fry could probably go in there. Now in truth, it was a bit silly for me not to notice. I mean, I'm literally stood right there where that arrow was, and the pool was literally just over to the right. I just never really considered using it for that purpose. I just guess it never really crossed my mind. But it has now fixed the problem for me. I could put the fry in there, but it does mean a good bit of work has to go into it, and I also can't put them in straight away because I've got to let the pool settle. I've got to put some plants in there and put some safe water in there. The reason I'm putting plants in is because I can't really use a filter on this tank. You can with fry, it's just a bit risky, and at the same time getting power around here is a bit pointless. So I'm going to lean more towards using natural plants to filtrate the water, because that not only helps filter the water sort of in a more natural way, it also provides oxygenation and also provides sort of a food source for the bugs that the fry will then eat, which then means the fry have more natural forage to eat. Now, as you can see from a ground perspective, the pool is in a mess right now. It's just full of rainwater that's sort of built up over time, and as you can see, it's gone green with algae, and it's still got a fair bit of wildlife in there. There's a lot of water boatmen, as you can see here on the surface. This thing is full of water boatmen. Also dragonfly larvae as well. There's a very large amount of dragonfly larvae that are found in this pond. Obviously these will have to come out because they can sort of predate on small fish. It's also very overgrown around the edges, but this isn't really a big issue. There's also this sort of float still on there. Yeah, it's just in a real big mess. There's a bunch of rubbish. The old cover is still on top of it. As you can see here, there's bits of leaves in there. It's just, yeah, it's a complete mess right now. There's bottles, all sorts of rubbish. But if I can clean it up like I would in today's video, I can get it in good shape. Now the first task wasn't too hard. It was just simply draining it down with a bucket. This didn't take too long, fortunately. There wasn't too much water left in there. And we only had to take out a little bit of the water just to make it light enough to tip it over. The water wasn't very clean, to be completely honest, but it was just rainwater, so there's nothing really too wrong with it. It was just full of a lot of bugs, which is actually a good sign, because it means that, a lot of animals are already laying sort of larvae in here, which means when I refill it with rainwater, a lot of fresh larvae will be in there for the fish to eat, which is a really good sign for me personally. The next task was to get a hose over there so I could spray it all down and clean it off. I will be using dechlorinator on it afterwards just to get rid of any of the chlorine that's in tap water. But I wanted to get rid of all this grime in the pond because I don't really fancy having this sort of regrowing. I will have it allow sort of natural algae to regrow because that's good for the fish and it's good for the bugs and such. But sort of the grime that was currently in there wasn't very healthy. It's not really a food source for the bugs. Any other algae though I'm completely fine with. Actually, I'll encourage that to grow because it'll help with like sort of the natural bugs growing and therefore provide more food for the fry. Luckily, cleaning it didn't take too long. It just took a sort of spray in the edges, getting all the dirt sort of loose, and then tipping it upside down. Once we've tipped it back over, this is what it looked like. Completely clean, you know, looks so much better than it did before. We put some new stands on the bottom as well, me and my dad, just to help it sort of be more sturdy. He also said we should put his bane tine across the top, which makes good sense. It just sort of helps hold the frame together. And once that was done, we started filling it up. Now, as you can see, there's a big difference. Here it is at the start. Completely disgusting and dirty compared to how it looks now. Looks so much better, so much cleaner, and it'll be a great spot for the fry to grow in. So fingers crossed I can get the setup and get it ready for the fry. Of course, it's going to take a few weeks. Once I put water in there and plants in there, I'm going to wait a few weeks to sort of actually put fry in there, just so I can let the water get sort of chemically balanced, and also to give a chance for natural bugs to grow in the pond. Now, I've got a few ponds dotted about that are full of Daphnia and these other small invertebrates. I'm not quite sure what they are called, but the koi I currently have absolutely love eating them. And if I put the koi straight in, then these bugs won't have enough time to sort of get established in the pond. And then the issue you have then is the koi fish just going to eat them all. There'll be none left, and then the koi will have no food. So I'm going to put them in, I'd say about 4 days after putting the water and the plants in, and then let them sit for about 2 weeks. So at that point, they can pretty much completely multiply like stupidly amount, and then to stupid numbers pretty much. And then when I put the koi in, the koi won't be able to eat them all at once. They'll just keep multiplying too fast for the koi to eat. But that's the plan anyway. Obviously, I'll keep you updated on this. I haven't put any water in it yet because I'm just letting it settle a bit more. I need to get some plants. I'll most likely be putting hornwort and then some lily pads. But I might not put some lily pads in there just because when it comes to taking the koi fish back out, you may struggle with doing that. But I might just put one in the pot in there just because that way, you know, you can take it out quite easy. But I will be planting some hornwort in the bottom because hornwort is just great for oxygenation and also provides a lot of hiding spaces for the fish. Now, of course, I'll have to get my eyes open for things like dragonflies and such. They're laying a lot of eggs at the moment, and this will lead to dragonfly larvae being hatched in the pond, which can cause issues because they will eat small fish. But luckily, any ones that get newly laid will probably be a bit too small to eat the fry at this stage. But hopefully, if I can keep it going, I should have no issues. This pond, in my opinion, should be big enough, or pool, sorry, not pond, should be more than big enough to grow the fry to about 1 inch in length, which is all I'm really looking for. I just want to grow them to 1 inch in length and then have them so they're at a point where I can just select them, pick out the ones I want to keep, and then any others I'll sell or give to any friends or something like that. But yeah, that's the plan. But yeah, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.